Hey everybody, welcome back to Outdoors and Country Living. Yep, we are still working on this beast of a high tunnel. It's taking us a lot longer than we anticipated just because of all of the pieces that have to go together and all of the screwing that's involved into the metal frame.
There's a lot of parts, a lot of pieces. Make sure you have some good tools if you tackle this.
Definitely.
Lots of good drill bits, good drill, impact driver.
But we've got the frame all put together. As you can see, we're starting to install the fabric, the cover on this thing, and we have to start with the roll-up door panels, the end panels basically, before we can complete the middle section.
So we did some of it the other day, and then a rain came in. You can see there's a puddle of water. So now that it quit raining, we're going to start on this side again and see how far we get. What we're doing here, and I looked on the internet to try to find information on how these doors work before I ever purchase one. If I had to do over, I probably would not buy the roll-up doors because I'm ended up framing it in because they're kind of hokey. It's a 20-foot door with a 1-inch EMT conduit that runs through it, and they've swaged the ends so they slide together. And there's a bar here that you add. And all that does, that conduit stays between these, but when the wind blows, we found out yesterday on this one in a storm, this conduit will bow and the door just whips back and forth. Granted, we don't have the top on yet, but not overly impressed with that. So what we're doing now is this channel here, or this square tubing, you have to drill all these holes in it for your rope to attach to help keep your door closed. So you drill the 7/16 hole, and then on the other side, you drill a 1-inch hole. So you drill through your 7/16 or 3/8, and then you drill that with a 1-inch hole. And all that's for is so your J-bolt can go through here. And then you put a washer and a nut on it. And I bought lock nuts to put on because they don't supply lock nuts apparently. And that'll keep this thing from coming loose and falling apart one day. And because I'm using nylocks or lock nuts, when you put your socket on there and you start to tighten it up, it'll, once it gets resistance, this thing will start to spin on you and rip your fingers off if you're not careful. So I have a pair of pliers to hold it. And you'll want to make sure that this nut here is adjusted, because if of course they don't tell you none of that, but if you have it all the way back on this side of the channel or this tubing, your end of the bolt will stick through and it'll start to cut away on your cover. So make sure you have this adjusted in so that doesn't stick out. All the little things you figure out as you go. And we also try to make sure that it's not turned all the way in because of the fear that the side plastic will catch on that. So.
putting these metal clips on the bottom hole where the roll-up door goes. We're spacing them approximately every 2 feet.
So what these do is these act as a point of bonding for the door. When you crank it, it'll roll up on itself. So you put these clips on. Of course, you put a screw in it, and then you put tape over it so it doesn't tear the plastic. So this thing will have that pipe that goes through it, and then you'll hook your crank or your drive shaft to it, and it'll just wind up on itself. And this pole will stay between this metal column here and this piece of tubing that they have you screw on. And if you look, you'll see at the top, I have it right between here, bink, right there, and right there, I have it wider than what I do down here. And the reason I did that, so it'll hold it closer together at the bottom. It doesn't rattle. They don't tell you to do that, but that was my solution to try to help keep the thing from rattling so much. So. So these are aluminum, so the self-tapping screws will go through that a lot easier. But I would say about 30% of these things don't dig in like they're supposed to. They're what I call garbage. I'm putting this channel on up there on top. You can see my clamps, and then it'll bend and go down the other side. So one thing I wanted to add, you guys saw me up in the bucket doing things I don't recommend you should do. But what I was doing is putting this channel on. This channel is what holds the plastic or the top. And then they have what they call a wiggle wire, so you'll tuck your plastic in there, and we'll show you once we get to that point. And then you put your wire in there, and what it does is it'll capture it against the sides, and you just wiggle. They call it wiggle wire because you wiggle it back and forth. So you bend it this way, then you bend it the other way, and it'll go into the channel. But what I wanted to show you was, you probably saw me drilling. So they have these self-tapping screws. They're called tech screws. They send with the kit, about 10,000 of them. And usually use the driver that goes in your impact driver, drill, whatever. And this is aluminum, so it drills pretty easy. But when you get into that steel, that tubing, it doesn't drill very good. And probably a good portion of the screws weren't drilling at all. So what I've been doing is taking a drill bit, especially in areas that are you know, up in the air, they're a little more difficult to get to. I'll drill a hole. It's just an 1/8 inch drill bit. It was tin coated, but you can see the coating's wearing off. And then that'll make these go in a lot easier, especially when you're up working at heights. So it's a tip for you. If you want to try it, try it. If you don't, good luck.
Well, I managed to make a giant mess in here with the tractor.
I'm thankful it's 4-wheel drive, because if it wasn't, I would probably be pulling it out with the truck. We had some work done. We did get the other side put up, the door. the sides. I got the wiggle wire channel put up on the tops. So now we'll figure out what we need to do for doors and get the cover put on, and we'll keep capturing footage. So sorry it's been a while. We've been busy with a lot of stuff going on, but it's been raining. It's muddy. Obviously you can tell it's muddy, but
It's a mess.
yeah, a little bit of mud never kill anybody.
We've got side curtains left and then the top piece, so we have to determine what goes on first.
So it's been good. I think when it's all done, it'll be a nice unit. There's definitely a learning curve with it. But again, if you have any questions or anything you want to know, ask and I'll tell you. I have nothing to hide. So if we can help, we will. We thank you for watching. And
Yeah.
if you subscribe, if you haven't subscribed, if you have, thank you. And we're going to get things buttoned up. It's going to be dark probably the next hour.
It's getting colder, I can tell.
It's getting colder. It's going to be in the 30s this week. But we're going to keep moving.
But back in the 40s this coming weekend, so it's topsy-turvy around here.
So it'll be good.
Yeah. See you later.
Have a good week. Take care.